Good morning, Rabbi Sai. I wasn't going to allow a little fever and COVID/flu break my streak, so I'm here today. Everybody, you're going to like this one. Maybe you're not. There's a few people that we haven't that we like. One of them is you.
Thank you.
Me.
Touched.
And Reb David Hafstetter.
Oh, wow.
Who's this? That's the question. Reb Nachman Seltzer, Stefansky, or Reb David Hafstetter? This is very nice. Eli Victor with Yitz. Yitz the Great at the Taf Kippurim event in Brooklyn, New York with a custom MDY balloon made by Yitz the Great. And you see that he's wearing a sweatshirt, the MDY sweatshirt. It's unbelievable. All right? It's a well-known fact that the Torah is best learned within the mikvah of Tahara. It's also well known when one goes into the clean and hot mikvah, they will exhale and sigh by saying, ah. Therefore, I venture to say that being that Rebbe Eli has a mikvah at his convenience, he most likely uses it before shir. But being he's in a rush to be on time, starts the shir with the delayed ah. Therefore, my recommendation to all Rebbe Eli's Talmidim to take a dip into the daf and you'll enter into a world of ah. Shaul Perlstein's Erev Purim. Shaul Perlstein of Borough Park, the originator of the turning of the daf, not the page. Afreilichem Purim to all the MDY participants. Yeah. Just want to share this. Today, Sunday, we had a new grandson, says Jack Warman from Lakewood. Now we're up to 12 great grandkids. 6 and 1 and a half dozen of the other. See you tonight. I just recently found out about your shir. I'm a Magid myself. A little smaller audience, learning a different Masechta, but I'm amazed and enjoy Gishmak and delivery. And he came up with the Chiddush, the Alte Chiddush Rabbi Sai. I got in the last month 3 of these. That Gemara is the Rosh Tevis. Good morning, Rabbi Sai. They finally hopped on. May Hashem give you the schos to continue. The Avitz HaKadosh spread the word. Gishmak learning Gemara. Meis haroitze bilim shmoi. Oh. This is from Rabbi Forchheim, who took of Zisha and his other friend. Here we go. By the Kaiser. This is from Jonathan Stefansky. And this is Abe Friedman, who's a Nazir. A Nazir. Rabbi Sai, you all know Shlomi Daskel. I love this because it's a great song. It's going to play on repeat in my house on Purim Beis Hashem. But I especially liked the first seconds of the song. Check this song out. From Shlomi Daskel, Rabbi Say, here we go.
Guten Purim, Rabbi Say.
He makes fun of woodcots. Listen to this.
Mazel tov. A Freilach and Purim. Was macht me? Baruch Hashem, Yom, V'yom. Was Sarai? I don't know. Singen, drinken. Ken sein. Mach Avrohom. Hamoitzi lechem min ha'orech.
Hold on. I just want to say the song.
Hai Mishe nichnaso odor. Hai Mishe nichnaso odor. Marbim besimcho. Ay mishe nichnaso odor. Ay mishe nichnaso odor. Uy marbim besimcha. Ay mishe nichnaso odor. Ay mishe nichnaso odor.
All right, Shkoya. Rabbi Sai. We should all pause and maybe dedicate today's shir to our very good friend, Avi Mandelbaum, who needs Rachiv Mei Shamayim Merubim. He's in a coma in the hospital. Yesterday, over 50 people went on Zoom and said to Hillim, Avraham Menashe and Chana Bracha. And it was very emotional with Hillim because you saw all types of Yidden from all over the world. And from all types, we're talking about the Dati Leumi that lives in the Dati Leumi neighborhood in Eretz Yisrael in the north. And the one that did the organizing of the Tehillim, and he led most of the Tehillim, was a Haimish Yid. When he was saying the Tehillim, I was thinking to myself, Avi Mandelbaum probably couldn't even understand what he was saying. It's like, what? But that's how it is. It was Achdus, and it was very, very powerful. And we're Erev Purim, the Yontiv of Achdus, and I hope HaKadosh Baruch Hu saw the Achdus. And Avi will come back. Wake up. Avraham Menashe and Chana Bracha. The koil is sponsored by Anon Ymous from Lakewood. The second koil sponsor, may supporting Torah strengthen our bitachon. And the Masechta is sponsored by Maaser. The second sponsor of the Masechta Nishmas Chaim Bas Yosef by Anon Ymous. The Parnas HaChodesh Nishmas Zechariah ben Moshe. Parnas HaChodesh Nishmas Moshe ben Yehuda, a Holocaust survivor. By Anon Ymous from Flatbush for continued bracha, mazel, and clarity. And by the Landy Family, Eli Stefansky, Chaim being Yesh'ai. Today's sponsor is Bracha, Vatzlacha, B'Shalom Bayis, B'Chinuch Yilodim, B'Torah, Shti Parnosa, B'Sheva. I can't. It's hard for me to keep it together, and this guy next to me is crying. It's unbelievable. Okay? Dialogue is emotional. I'm saying it in a good way. People are connected to Avi. He's on Zoom every single day, from beginning to end. Bracha v'atzlacha b'shalom bayis, b'chinuch yiladim, b'toira, b'shtia parnasa b'sheva, l'mishpachas katan. Gavriel Emanuel, Eli Stefansky, Moras Elisheva, R Moshe Shlomo, Miss Emmanuel Shalom, whose yaartzeit is today. By Peretz, Chaim, Levin, the Sheleimah b'Kari, of Menashe ben Chana, Bracha, Mandelbaum. The art is sponsored for complete refuah for Chaim Tzvi ben Leo. Here's the question of the day. We're actually going to learn about it, but it's beautiful. It comes in right before Purim. And here is the question of the day. Is picking your nose on Shabbos a problem? How about picking your nose during the week? What could be the problem?
You can't pick your friend's nose. Wait, I love it.
Yeah, I love it. Oh, very good. Very, very good. Avi Kamyansky got the answer. He's right. It doesn't matter. Dover shein miskaven, if it's a psik reisha, there's nose hairs in the nose, and if it's not if it's a solid piece, I hate to get into it, but if it's a solid piece and you pull it out hard, it might pull hairs out. And if it's a psik reisha, in other words, it's going to happen. You know for a fact 1 or 2 hairs are going to pull out. It's usher.
Is it a psik reisha? Is it?
Depends whose nose. If it is. If you're the blonde type and you don't have a lot of hairs in your nose, then not. Each one check their own nose and check it out. Listen, I think during the week you should take out a booger and check out how many hairs is in it.
Do it now.
Oh,
This is
I was thinking about it.
right now. Come on, we got lions. Just right now. Here and now. Let's check.
Zakti Gemara.
Situation. Right now. Tell you believe it any time. Let's go.
Oh, the's no water today.
No water.
Omar Mahar.
That's Barabbas.
Omar Mahar. Omar Mahar. It's coming up. If you pay attention, you'll see. Now, that comes to answer. I just thought about it. The second question is, how about during the week? During the week, I would say, it's also like the Gemara says, you're not allowed to spit in front of your friend because it grosses him out. So you're not allowed to do things that gross him out. Right. But maybe, now you can be Melamed Schos. All those people, they go really finger deep in. Maybe they're doing tests to see how many hairs come off and what kind of pressure you have to apply. So maybe they're actually doing a halacha thing. Yesterday, the other day, we had 3 people that have to shave. A Nazir, a Metzora, and who's the third one? The Levin. If they did not use a razor, or they left over 2 hairs, in other words, if they left two hairs, it's not a good shave. In order to shave, it has to be 100% clean. You see from here, you can see the idea that when you do most of something, it's as if you did the entire thing, and that's a concept midoraisa. Mimai, How do we see it from here? Midegaler achmona gabi Nazir bayoyim hashvi yigalcheno. Here's the pasuk. V'chiyamas meis b'had v'vidoyim v'tim mirosh nizar v'gilach roish avim tarasa b'yom hashvi yigalcheno. So the pasuk repeats itself. It says v'gilach in red, and it says yigalcheno in red, and it's redundant. And the Torah is being very specific that you have to be megaleach, you have to be megalech, the entire thing. That's why the Torah said it twice to say that I'm makbid over here. You're not going to go with Rubik Kuloi. I had a problem. I saw that they talk about it. I don't have a great answer. The concept of Rubik Kuloi is Achri Rabim Lahatos. It's a pasuk in the Torah. So what's the Gemara being a raya from here? So Solomon Ritzchius asks it, and he says that over there, Rubik Kuloi typically means that we ignore the miyot. Over here, we're trying to add the miyot to the roiv. We want to say that he shaved everything, and that you can't do. Okay, something on those lines. What they speak about. Says the Gemara, Hachahu, only over here, the adika kuloi, by Nazir, you need every single hair. Haba but anywhere else where the Torah doesn't go out of its way to say the word v'gilach twice or anything else, Rubik kuloi, then we'll have the idea of once you, let's say, shave. How about if you shave most of your payas? Most of your payas. Are you over on the Isser? No. That Isser, I'm sorry, yes. When you shave your payas, it's roiv, kikol. So if you go down with a razor or not a razor, depending on how you learn, most of your payas, so you'll be over because you did most. But 51%, most. Roiv, right? No. Why? You're saying one here. You're saying one here. If you shave with one here with a razor, one here. Right, that's what we learned. We learned before. One here to be over. Two hairs to be makiv. So what do you say, roiv? I still say by roiv by payas though. I thought I saw it. Okay, I might be wrong. Fine. Today everything goes. Adik kuloi. Oba alma rubik kuloi. Maskivlo Reb Yosi Reb Chanina. Ha hay ben Nazir tomiksiv. If you look at the pasuk, it says v'chiyamus meis. This pasuk is talking about a Nazir who came in contact with a dead person. So it's not the Nazir at the end of his Nazirus at the end of 30 days. We're talking about a Nazir, day 15, went to a funeral, went to Levaya, and he has to start over or whatever. Hay ben Nazir tomiksiv. So how do I know by a regular Nazir who's finishing up his Nazirus, how do I know that he also, we have this concept of Rubik Kuloi, or we don't have the Rubik Kuloi? Says the Gemara, in Eretz Yisrael, they made fun of him. I thought it was interesting because Tosfos points out, it's almost v'nahapachu. It's kedai to remember this Gemara, write it down, because in Gemara in Sanhedrin, Daf Amud Beis, goes through all the names in Shas that are important. Like when it says this and this, it says Maaser, they ask the question of Yisrael, it means this time. Who's mechachu aleh b'marova? Who always makes fun from Yisrael to the people in Bavel? Rabbi Yosi Reb Chanina. So how could it be that they made fun of Rabbi Yosi Reb Chanina? He's the one that makes fun. In Gemara and Sanhedrin, when it says, anytime it says in Shas, mechachu aleh b'marova, it's referring to Rabbi Yosi Reb Chanina. It happens to be that there's another Girsha there, and then at the end the Gemara comes back to Rabbi Yosi Reb Chanina. Anyway, as I said, you could say again, Lishna de Nazir Mishuna. Today happens to be the yaartzeit of R Moshe Feinstein. Somebody sponsored yesterday, but I think he was off. What? Maybe he meant like the people in America would be learning it. Okay. But they once asked, how is there a Moshe, he's so fluent and so quick to paskin shailas everywhere? So somebody said, because Moshe learned Shulchan Aruch with the Noise Kalim 300 times. So Rabbi Yosef laughed at it. He says it's impossible. It's impossible for a human being to learn it 300 times. I'm just saying over story. I don't know if it's true or not. Maybe he did learn it 300 times. And he sent his son, or he himself asked Reb David Feinstein, how many times did Moshe learn? Rav David said, listen, I don't know if it's 300, but I know that later on in his life, I was at his siyum number 20, which is also a tremendous, tremendous amount. But I just thought, Mechachu Allah, it's his yaartzeit. Shas, how many times did he learn? 400. Rabbi Fran said he made a siyum the 100th time twice, maybe it's 200 times. Okay. Michli Nazir Tomei the Betar Minolan. So why do they make fun of him? Because how do we even know the idea that you have to use a razor blade by a Nazir? Minazir Tar Yal. You learn one type of Nazir, the Tomei guy, from the Tar one, the one that brings the korbanos at the end. So therefore you can learn one from the other. Just like by a Nazir, there's no rubi kikula, you have to shave the entire head. And if you leave 2 hairs over, you didn't accomplish anything. So Abaya, we have 2 interesting shilas here. Nazir shegilach v'shir shtei saras. If a Nazir, here's a Nazir, and he left 2 hairs, that's it, just 2. Somach roishoi, and then his hair grew back. V'chazar v'gilcha mao. The 2 red, those are the original ones he didn't shave off, remain. And now he has a full head of hair, he has the shear of hair. Could you view those 2 hairs as what are holding the haircut back? He took an entire haircut, but he left 2 hairs. It didn't count as anything. Why? Because he had 2 hairs. Now all he has to do is cut off those 2 hairs, and now he has a full haircut. But perhaps not. Perhaps since his hair grew back, that's it. Mi makviloi. By Rava, ask Rava, another shayla, Nazir shegilach v'niach shtei saras. He left over 2 hairs. V'gilach achas, v'noshra achas. So, let's say, here, this is not a good picture because it has all the hairs. But in terms of 1 and 2, he went ahead and the Gemara understands now that he shaved off, he took a razor and he shaved off hair number 1. Number 2 was still there hanging around, and then number 2 fell out by itself. So the shayla is like this. Everybody agrees that if, let's say he left 2 hairs, it's not a haircut. If both hairs fell out on their own, he wasn't mekayim the haircut. You have to shave the whole head. And since he left 2 hairs, he didn't shave. And then they fell out by themselves, it's nothing. So what if he shaved 1, and then the second one fell out? If he did that, what's the problem? The one before the last is all you need, really. Why is that an issue? He shaved the one before the last, and the last one fell off. The shayla is fakert. He had 2 hairs left. The first hair, 1, fell out. Now he's left with 1 hair. 1 hair doesn't count as a haircut. And he never finished the haircut. He didn't finish the haircut. Why? Because he left 2 hairs. 1 of them fell out. Now he's going to go and shave off 1 hair. 1 hair doesn't count for anything. Or maybe not. What? So the question to read this line or not, but I'll go upon him. The point is, on the one hand, there's no hair, so why shouldn't he be yaartzeit? If there's no hair, then why should there be any kind of shaving? Says Gemara, the bottom line is, because he only was left with 1 hair, and to shave 1 hair is not considered a shave, so Meila, he's not yaartzeit. So he has to wait, I guess, until it grows back and he has at least 2 hairs to shave. The official Mishnah, sponsored by Moras Elisheva, Zech Nishmas, or Rav Feivel Cohen, or Rav Shrag of Feivel ben Rav Eliezer Cohen, Zech Zag the Bracha, the Mechaber of Bali Shulchan. Says the Mishnah, Nazir Choifef, a Nazir who's not permitted to remove his hair, even 1, he's allowed to use shampoo, fast pace, and he could separate his hair with his fingers. Avaloi soirek. He's not allowed to use a comb. So there's a very famous story. There's a guy that lived in the city, and his son was balagala, a taxi driver, and slowly the son started coming in later and later into Shabbos, in front of the whole city. And people wanted the Chaim to give him a little musar. They saw the father going into the Chaim, and before they were able to get to the Chaim, he snuck in there and asked for a bracha. So the Chaim said, I'll give you a bracha. Shabbos is the Makara bracha. How do you expect to have a bracha if your son drives his agala on Shabbos and your daughter uses a comb on Shabbos? Nobody knew about that part. That was it. The game was so the point is that to comb your hair on Shabbos, in most ways, when you're not very careful, is a problem. It's a very big problem. It's an Isser on Shabbos because you're pulling hair out. So the Rebbe Kiva Eger says, and this is very interesting. We don't paskin like this really, but the Rebbe Kiva Eger says that it's usher to comb your payas. That's how the Rebbe Kiva Eger holds. You see Hasidim a lot in the mikvah. They're constantly. It's a big job because it's very long. It's a big thing. So they would have a big problem with the Rebbe Kiva Eger. The Rebbe Kiva Eger's son-in-law, the Chassam Sofer, the Rebbe Kiva Eger sent him this thing, and the Chassam Sofer sent him back. He said, if you're right, father, that it's usher, then how come the Gemara says that it's usher for Nazir to comb his hair? A much bigger chiddush should be, no one in the world can comb their hair. No one in the world can comb their payas. Why doesn't the Gemara ever talk about it? Such an isser. Besides, we see that everybody combs their hair. You see Minagav saying be a denu, and he says there's nothing to be choishish for. If somebody really wants to be super machmir, okay. So then we spoke about this before shir, but this idea of pulling out your hair, and it's kind of gross, but it's kedai to talk about it once and keep on going. Picking of the nose is one area, and another area that I saw today, and I never thought about it, is going to the bathroom using toilet paper. You got to be careful. Pulling hairs out on Shabbos could be a big problem. So everybody in their own. I'm just bringing it up there. You're welcome. It's a good thing you came back in. It's managing time. You had a call. What happened over there? I'm going for that water. It's not okay. So, but the payas, to have payas is a hiddur mitzvah, and what else is a hiddur mitzvah? Is drinking wine on Purim is also a hiddur mitzvah, not to get drunk with whiskey, but through wine. I heard a beautiful thing. I just want to share this with the Olam. It's Chasidish Maaser. There's two friends that were on the way, and they bumped into each other at the inn. And they had, the wagons came, the horse and buggy, and the drivers were ready to go. They said, let's go. But these two friends had to catch up. They just saw each other first time in years. So they devised a plan. They said, okay, we're going to give the Baal HaGolos shmaka vodka, and hopefully they get drunk, and then we'll buy ourselves another few hours. Come to the bar. They gave him a drink. On Purim, it's a day of Iskairos to Hashem. That's the day of the year to get close to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So we, not me, the party, whatever, but you drink wine, and you get the body out of the way. You say to Hashem, now the Neshama and Hashem get together, and we let the Baal HaGola, the body, stand aside, get chicker, and not ruin anything. Zog the Gemara, choyfev u'mefasfes mani. This idea of not being a problem to use shampoo on a head of hair for a Nazir. Who holds like that? Says the Gemara, Rebbe Shimon. This is the famous Rebbe Shimon. So Yoshi did a new drawing for us. It's an original. we used a different one throughout Shas. Davar Shein Miskaven is very, very simple. This individual wants to drag this bench from point A to point B. But he doesn't care about the groove in the ground. He wants the outcome. He wants the bench in point B. So Davar Shein Miskaven. He didn't have any kavanah to make a guma on Shabbos, to make a hole in the ground. So he's potter. However, if it's like in this picture, that the bench weighs 400 pounds, it's made out of marble, and there's no way in the world that he's going to be able to drag it over a field of grass without making a guma, that's also why? Because it's called the psik reisha. Psik reisha means you're going to cut off the animal's head, v'lo yamos. It's impossible. If you're doing something that's impossible, you can't say, oh, I didn't mean it. You can't cut off a guy's head and say, I didn't mean it. I didn't mean that he should die. He's going to die 100%. So in this case, might be a little bit of a problem, but in general, you have to see each case individually. Is it 100% or not 100%? Aval. So let's continue, says the Gemara. Avaloi soyrek. But you cannot comb your hair. Asan l'Rabbana. Why does the Mishnah say you can't comb your hair? According to Rabbi Shimon, Davar Shein Miskaven, he had no intent to pull out his hair, so why can't he use a brush or a comb on Shabbos? So it must be Rabbanan. In other words, Rabbi Yehuda says Davar Shein Miskaven Aser. Huh? Nazir. You're right, Nazir, thank you. Wow. You gotta stick closer though. Nazir. Says Gemara, Reisha, Shimon, Sefer Rabbanan. How could it be that we have a Reish and a Seif in the same Mishnah going according to two opposite Shitas? No worries. It all goes according to Reb Shimon. Davar Shein Miskaven. Mutter, if you don't have intent, it's okay. The way the Rosh learns is that once you have weaker hairs in your head and you go with the comb, it's miskaven. The Ritva in Masechet Shabbos Daf Nun says it doesn't mean that he meant to take out the hair, but it says if he meant, because it's so obvious that it's going to happen. Since it's 100% that you're going to take this comb and you're going to end up with 3 nice hairs in your comb, every single time you do it, that's what happens. So it's as if you had kavanah to do it, and even Reb Shimon agrees in that case that psik reisha v'lo yamos is chayiv, you're over, even though it's einim miskaven, even though you didn't mean to do it. Because if it's going to happen 100%, even without intent, you are chayiv according to everybody. Says the Mishnah, sponsored by Moras Elisheva, Zechel Nishmas or Feivel Cohen. You should not use dirt. Picture. This is in Yam Melach. People do it, and it's like Aliyah. It's Yerida L'Tzarech Aliyah kind of thing. You stick your face in mud, and somehow I don't know. I see birds doing it, so it probably works. So the Mishnah says Shemasheres is aseir, because this pulls out here. When you take it out, you rinse it off, it's going to pull out here, and it's awesome. Boiling. So what's the Gemara has the shayla when Shemasheres is aseir because it's going to 100% nan, or Shemasheres nan because sometimes it's a problem. So we were guys are in all mud. Very simple. Let's say you have special mud that doesn't take out here. If it's because it's going to. If you have a special formula, I don't know, maybe the Dead Sea mud is different than all muds. It's a little lighter and it doesn't take out the hair. So maybe that would be okay. But if you say the pshat is because of the one type of mud or the few types of mud that remove hair, so all muds in the world are asur, then this mud, let's say the Dead Sea mud, would also be asur teiku. The official mission is sponsored by Mordechai Sepazik, the Zechel Nishmas or Feivel Cohen, the Mechaber of the Badei Shulchan. Nazir shoysi yain kol hayoyim. Again, it's a mishnah that we had, and it's a very simple mishnah. If a Nazir is drinking wine all day long, let me just see. So just going back to this to remind everybody, the 3 things that a Nazir is asur in Tumah, Tiglachas, Hayotzim in Agefen, and that's the symbol for Nazirus. So the Mishnah goes through each and every one. It seems very simple. He's sitting and drinking wine all day long. Rabbi Sai, why is he drinking wine all day long? Because it's Purim. Very good. Shkoya. It's not whatever. You guys could have helped me out a little bit. If he's drinking wine all day long, he's only chayiv once. But if they gave him Asra, we're talking about they gave the guy Asra, they told him that you're a Nazir, you're not allowed to drink wine. If you drink wine, you're going to get Malchus. And he didn't listen, he drank wine the entire day, he gets Malchus once. But if they warned him in the morning at 9 o'clock, and then and then at 12 o'clock he came again, they said, listen, don't drink, and he drank again. And that's the halach in all Isurim in the Torah, really. If you break up the Hasra, there's another Hasra Mechalkos, then you get Malchus for each and every one. Same thing applies to Gilu. He's shaving and shaving all day long, Nebach, in a Chayiv Alachas. Or allowed to Galech, he doesn't listen to Chayiv Alachas. He was at a funeral, he was doing another Tyra and then another Tyra. In a Chayiv Alachas. He's only chayiv once. And he doesn't listen. Says, turning to Daf Yomi, Amud Beis. Sponsored Latzlacha of our Levin, Eliza Simcha Sheina Masha, and Eliza Simcha Sheina Masha about Bracha. Latzlacha for the Magid and the members of the HBA Group and their families on Maine, and for Sheleimah, for Avraham Menashe, ben Chana Bracha. Itmar. So I want to show you real quickly. I asked Yoshi at the last second, if we could reuse the Tful Yom thing, just to get the Olam more used to Tum and Tahara. I think it's important and it's very not scary, even though we don't really need this 100% of our Sugya. But take a look at this. There's 3 types of Tumah, and this is a Sugya of Tumah, and it's very, very easy. But just to familiarize ourselves with Tumah. This Maga is very simple, touching a dead person. Maaser is very simple, it's lifting a dead person. An oil is very simple, is going into a room where there's a dead person, and here goes. He's tar, he has the green around him, and it touches him. The dead person, Avi Avois Atuma, the person that touches him goes down one madrig, it becomes Av Hatuma. Now, Maaser means to lift, because this was, at the last minute, so it's not the best, but let's say he puts it on his shoulder. Again, the dead person is a V avois atuma, the highest level of tuma. The person touching him is avatuma, and he carries him on his shoulder, as the Gemara is going to say. Great. Now, the final one that we're going to talk about, let me ask you something. I think this is a fascinating halacha. If a person touches a dead person, I want you to answer me, everybody together. Person touches a dead person. He's a Nazir, he touches a dead person. He leaves go of the dead person. And then he touches the same dead person again. Did he add any tumah to what he was tumah before? The first time he touched him, he became avat tumah, moved away. Then he touched him again. Did he add anything at all? No. That's what I thought. Wrong. He added. Oh, how? How's it possible? What did he add? What, he went from a 99 to 100? No. The answer is, and that's our sugya. I'll show you in a second. But I thought it was fascinating. The answer is because when he's touching the dead person the second time, he becomes a conduit. It's like electricity. So if somebody touches him at the time that he's touching the dead person, that person becomes a much higher darg of tumah. He's so tameh, that person that touched him, that he has to wait 7 days to become tar. But so again, he touched a dead person and he let go. When he let go, he touched his friend. What happens to his friend? His friend becomes tameh just until the evening. But when he touches the dead person for the second time, as he's touching him the second time, he's a conduit to tumah. He could make his friend tameh for 7 days. That means that he increased in tumah. He's not a v'yavayis tumah. You're right. It's only when he's touching, but it increases tumah. You're right. Correct. I know. I also thought exactly like you. Very good. I agree. I hear what you're saying. He's saying that it's only because he became a conduit. It doesn't matter. But you could only become a conduit if you yourself become more tameh. And at that moment that he's touching him the second time, he's more tameh than the first time. Anyways, let's just see what oil is for a second. Here's oil. Here's a guy, he's 100% tar, walking into the funeral home. I skipped it, sorry. Just let it play. Just because he walked into the room, he became Tameh with Avatuma. And what we're going to see is that if a person touches a dead person, and then he walks into a room with the dead person, he actually gets another set of malchus. We'll see in what circumstances. But oil, tumah, is different than touching. And we could add the oil. We could add the tent of the tumah, the tumas oil, we could add it on top of the touching tumah. Says the Gemara, Itmar. Omar Rabba, Omar Avuna. Mikra mole dibra kosov. So, here's the pasuk, real quickly. Pasuk Vav says, Kol yimei zir l'Hashem, al nefesh meis lo yavai. Lo yavai is a lashon of do not walk in, right? That's referring to tumas, oil, walking into a place. The next pasuk says, La'aviv v'l'imoi la'achav v'l'achaysi lo yitama. We're talking about a Nazir. It's talking about all types of tumah, touching, lifting. So explains the Gemara, Omer Avuna mikra mole dibra kosov lo yitama, kshu oimer lo yavai. And this is the way you read it. The two psukim are teaching us two things. That you're chayiv, you hear? You're chayiv to malchus. If the Eidim warn you, and they say, listen, if you're going to go into that house, and you're going to touch the mace, you're going to get malchus. So he's going to get double malchus. One for touching, one for going into the house. Oh, you hear? It's only because he went into the house. He did a oil after he did a maga. Or a Maaser. Because the pasuk says, Lo yitama and Lo yavai. You're getting two isurim here. Aval tuma v'tuma. What if a person touches? And then he touches again. Logically speaking, we would all say that he doesn't get a second malchus. He touches the same dead person again and again. Or he touches a third person. What's the difference? It's all within the same type of tuma. Rav Yosef Amar Early Kim, he swears, Omer Avuna, afilu tuma v'tuma. I know for a fact Ravuna said, even if you touch two dead people one after another, you get two malchus. He's in the cemetery and they gave him his relative. Or umeis acher, or a different dead person, v'nogaboy chayav. I want to point out real quickly, it's just a thing. The Vilna Gaon says that one should never ever go to the cemetery. All the worst things in the world happen from going to the cemetery. There's a lot of ruchos rois, a lot of shadim, and he used to go to his mother's thing once a year, and he had a lot of charot over. I'm just saying, it says in the Geras Agrai thing, he talks about it a lot. There's a lot of. I just thought it's fascinating. A lot of people fly to Vilna to go to the Vilna Gaon's grave after he said he shouldn't go. Okay, fine. Yeah, there's no, even a Chaim could go to Tzach Chassid. Okay, I'm not going there. Nazir Shaya, I'm a Kors, Vayishito, Loi, Mesa, you Mace, Acher, Venoga, Chaim. Amai, Hometame, Vekoim. No, I'm saying, okay, let's say he's talking about Tzaddikim, to get into his cave. I don't know how it works, so I was never there. I probably will go one day, but you probably have to go through a cemetery and go and climb over other graves. That's the whole problem.
You go between the path and then you get this thing. And if it's just Tzaddikim, then it doesn't have those problems.
Okay. I'm just saying, they go to Tzva, they go to this. You're always going.
If you didn't go to Tzaddikim all the time, it must be okay. Otherwise, the Klai so wouldn't do it.
Okay, so the guy doesn't know what he's talking about. I got it. Fine, no problem.
Nobody said the guy just talking about. How do you get from point A to point B?
I'm bringing out a point. Before you go to the basic Kfaras, especially at night, before this, think about it.
Right.
Regular people, regular Levaya. Don't come to my funeral. You saw that, Yosef? First time ever in 5 years, somebody threw something at me in Milshire. Here, Abaye asks him, how is it possible if you touch two dead people, you chayiv malchus twice? It says before over here. He has a dead person on his shoulder, and he touched another dead person. You would think he's chayiv twice. It's only a person who's tahar and he became tameh. Kayin. We're talking about a kayin who's tameh. If a kayin is already, he was mechalel, he already became tameh, which he shouldn't have, and he touches another dead person, nothing. Amalei v'tikshi lach masnisin. Huh? Versus, you mean because he's touching him the whole time? Okay, let's see. Amalei v'tikshi lach masnisin. What are we going to do with the Mishnah? This nan. It says in our Mishnah that you only chayav once. However, if Adam come and warn him another time, then he is chayav twice. So ask the Gemara the obvious question: what did the Nazir do? He's in the same exact tumah. So we have a contradiction between the Mishnah and the Bracha. Lo kashi kan bichiburin, kan shloi bichiburin. So here, if a person is touching a dead person, which is Aviyav Ezatama, and he's touching another person, so that person is Tommy 7 days, as I said before. If, huh? Oh, then it becomes a Rishon, and Hulu. B'yachad, I don't know. Now, so what the Gemara is saying is that when he touches the mace again, it becomes like this. When he touches again, he has the ability to be metama another person for 7 days. Whereas if he didn't touch him again, his ability to be metama his friend is only till that night. And memela, that's why it's considered as if he added another tumah. So you ask me, it's mashma that he added tumah and he's chayiv again. Yeah, because he's mechuber. When he's still touching, then he's able to add tumah, and that's why he's chayiv again. Lo kashi kan b'chiburim kan shloi b'chiburim. As the Gemara, v'tumah b'chiburim deraisa, you're telling me that it seems like what you're saying is the deraisa concept. That if I'm a conduit, I'm still holding on to the tumah, that I'm able to be metama other people all the way that they should be tummy for 7 days. You're telling me it seems like a deraisa kind of halacha. If it was a deraisa halacha, then it should be throughout the entire Torah. And it seems like it's only a special halacha that if somebody touched someone who's touching a dead person, then he shouldn't eat truma. It's also for him to eat truma. Avol Nazir, voice of Pesach, a guy who touched a person like this case, who touched a person who's touching a dead person right now, he could actually eat the carbon Pesach today. And if he's a Nazir, typically if a Nazir touches a dead person, he has to start all over again. Over here, the guy on the right is a Nazir, let's say, and he touched a person who's touching a dead person, he doesn't have to become a Nazir again. But if it's a deraisa halacha, that touching becomes a conduit, it should work, it should ruin a Nazir, it should ruin the guy that's trying to eat a Pesach. Says the Gemara, kan bichiburi adam ba'adam, kan bichiburi adam b'meis. Very simple, just fancy words. Here, chibure adam ba'adam means, that's what you were asking, Benny, that if I'm touching a dead person, and somebody touched the person that touched it, in other words, 3 people away, then he's only tamei midrabanan for 7 days. The 7 days is tumah derabanan. And this would be a tumah deraisa. You're right. So the Gemara is saying, chiburin is deraisa. If I touch a dead person and somebody touches me, he becomes tamei midiraisa for 7 days. You see, you have a case of derabanan. That's this case. What just happened? This case. 3 people away from the dead person, that becomes a derabanan. The third guy is the Rabbanan. I put the thing underneath. It becomes Tamei. 7 days of Rabbanan. Okay, we'll stop over here. Rabbi Yisai, have a meaningful fast. Full Sheleimah to Avi. Have a wonderful day.